You look at the lineup, the rotation now. I mean, after adding Thaddeus Young, it's like 7 out of their top 9 guys are 6'9" athletes with 7-foot wingspans. And I think obviously this is a clear strategy by the front office. When you look at the acquisitions that they made in the draft last year, in the trade deadline this year, like this is the team that they want to build. And I wanted to get your thoughts on just sort of like that strategy of basketball and sort of like that direction in which Masai and the front office, they want to move towards. Like, I think to me right now, it's just if they had the shooting down, I think this would be something that would work and kind of be unquestioned. Really, the only thing for me right now is just some of the guys, especially when you look up and down the roster coming off the bench, they don't have a lot of shooting. That's going to hurt them offensively. And I guess occasionally you're going to run into like Jokic and Embiid, and they're going to give you trouble. But then again, you can have a 7-footer out there, and they'll probably still give that 7-footer trouble. What do you make of the Raptors' positional experiments right now with the fact that they have all these 6'9" guys?
Well, I would suggest the way you frame the question is not quite accurate, and I think you know what I mean. It's not based on position. They're trying to get talented players on the court. And I think they're ignoring or eschewing the idea that there has to be some kind of position box that are checked. I think it's the only way to go. I don't really know what other teams are doing when they're not doing that. You've got to if you're trying to win games, then you've got to, within the rules of the league, because you can't just add players, you've got to find a way to continue to enhance the talent base, fitting in the culture and all of that, and how players play on the court and how they go about their things off the court. And so you're just trying to get talent upgrades. And so in the case of, for example, Thaddeus Young, who was very good for Chicago last year, and then really didn't do anything this year, I think it's just a matter of thinking, well, he's better than anyone else we could have added. Even if we needed, quote unquote, needed a player at a different position, we would just rather add the talent. And you have a head coach who is pragmatic enough to kind of play with the riches or the richness and the texture of his roster and come up with a strategy that emphasizes or enhances that which he has. Especially, remember, you don't develop a strategy in a vacuum. You have to consider the opponent. So you guys don't know football as well up there, but you know it a little bit. You do play football up there.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, it's great if you want to create an offensive system that really accentuates a running game. But if the best two or three teams in your division are the best in the world at defending the run, you're in trouble. You probably need to have a plan B. Well, I think Toronto is trying to create as many plan Bs as they can based on that diversity of talent in the East. And I agree with you on the shooting. I've always said that I don't ever want to be a GM, but if I ever pursued it, I would look into creating a roster where at all times I could have 80% of the guys on the court elite athletes and 80% of them being elite shooters. I wouldn't worry so much about size. I'm not saying that would work, and I'm also not saying that I really would try to have you can't have 5 Fred VanVleets because he's not a great athlete, but I don't know that you could have 5 6'3" guys and be successful. I'd probably play with it a little bit and just try to shoot 63s a game and bring a bunch of athletes that could also race and dunk. But I'd probably have a roster that looks more like Toronto's, and then of course the shooting thing is the issue. So 3-point shooting also has a variance to it. So it very well may be that in the playoffs, Toronto shoots a lot of threes, defends with all those guys, which won't be easy to score on. I mean, they could be a top 10 defense at that point. And if they can just get hot 3 games in 7, and then they win a 4th game, not because they shot great, but because the other team just shot terribly, which happens all the time. Yep. Some team goes 6 for 35. Those teams happen. Well, now you've won a series that you weren't necessarily expected to win. So my guess is that's kind of their strategy is that they're going to throw some lineups out there all game long that they're just going to be challenging to score on. They're always going to be at risk to hurt you in transition because everyone can kind of grab it and go. The way Fred and Pascal are playing alone makes them much more dynamic on offense than if it's just one of those 2 guys. And then throw in the way Gary's playing. I don't know that. I think the Celtics and the Raptors both are teams that are going to give top 4 seed fits. And then you just because I think if Marcus Smart comes back healthy because of their defense, and then you throw in what Atlanta did last year, their offense can be a juggernaut. So that's why the East is going to be so interesting this year. Is you've just got just really interesting teams that can cause a lot of damage to teams that ultimately have more talent and have a better record. But any of those 3 teams can really get it going by season's end and pull an upset or two.